A photograph. Why do we do this? Why do we record ceremonies of births and birthdays, the transience of life, the loss of memory? How important a photograph can be? People start living without memories. Understand, make notes, and learn the poem. Hello students and welcome back to the Prep School English classes. Today's session, Poem 1 from your Hornbill textbook, A Photograph. It's obvious that in our journey of life, all of us intend to preserve important people and important events. Why do we do this? Why do we record ceremonies of births and birthdays, marriages and holidays, and every small special event and occasion? That's because they matter. They become our personal story. They become our timeline of our life. So one such recording is through a photograph. The image in a photograph connects us to the past, gets us a lot of memory. The photograph becomes the legacy of our life. So dear children, let's understand what is the poem all about, A Photograph. What is that I'm going to discuss today? I will be discussing the most common thing to every poem that you need to know while you learn every poem. What is that you need to know? You need to know the poet, the poetic devices, what is the message in the poem, what is the theme and the title. So remember, every time you learn the poem, you have to know who is the poet and who is the author, what are the poetic devices of the poem, what is the theme, on what does the poem rotate around, and what is the title and what is the message in that poem. With this, let's look at the author. The author of the poem A Photograph is Shirley Tolson. She has written lots of books on social history and she is the editor. She was the editor of various magazines. Through this poem, she gives tribute to her mother. Her mother is no more. She has lost her mother and the memory of that loss has been so emotional to her. So she has a picture where she's seeing her mother and then the memories take her back and she started missing her mother. So what is the theme of the poem? The theme of the poem is about the transience of life, the loss of memory. It's how strange that sometimes somebody is dead but they live in our memory. So knowing that, understand the theme. It is loss of memory and transience of life. Transience means something which is not for a very long time. It's for a temporary period that it lasts for a very short time. So transience of life, and it explores how it's very strange that the way some of the people, some of the thoughts contribute to live in our memories. Moving forward, the memories are just not stuck in our head, but they also can be through a photograph or image or any kind of event which is recorded. That being the theme, loss of memory and transience of life, let's move forward to have a look at the overview of the poem, A Photograph. Understand the tone of the poet. The poetess is in a sad state. She is in a memory of a lost mother. So the poem is written in a very sad tone. She remembers her mother when the mother was just 12 years old. So how does she remember? She remembers seeing a photograph, the image in that where her mother was a little girl. So now since her mother is not there, she is trying to remember her and she is in deep emotion. So the tone of the poet is sadness and she remembers her mother who is no more. It's important to know she is talking about her mother in a photograph wherein her mother was just a small girl. How old was her mother then? She was only about 12 years. So that is the tone of the poem. Moving forward, what is the central idea of the poem? The central idea is how important a photograph can be. How important is it recorded the past of a person who is no more? What are the memories that it brings back? So the central idea of the poem is that a photograph records the past as well as the present, and all the memories in the past is recalled seeing a image in the photograph. So that being the tone of the poet and the central idea, why is the poem titled A Photograph? The poetess had preserved a very old photograph, and looking at the image, she remembers her mother who is no more. So hence the title, A Photograph. Moving forward, let's understand what is the structure of the poem. The poem is divided into 3 stanzas. It has got 3 stages. So the first stage explains in the image about her mother who was 12 years old. So how does she look in the photograph? Where was the photograph taken? Who took the photograph? That is there in the first stage of the poem, the first stanza. Moving forward, it is later when the poetess was with her mother. That is, her mother was 20 to 30 years later after this photograph was taken, how the mother was explaining the poetess about the incident of that particular photograph. So the second stage is when the mother of the poetess was explaining to the mother about the image in that photograph. And the last phase is about the poetess feeling. Now that the mother is not there, she's trying to recall, she's trying to recollect about what is that the mother was talking to her when she was alive, about that particular image. So here, though the photograph is full of smile, but the poetess is in a tone of sadness. The photograph, the mother is full of laughter, but the poetess is in pain or sadness. So you see irony also in this poem. So this being the structure, the poem is divided into 3 stanzas, and the first stage of the poem, it refers to the poetess mother in an image when she was 12 years. The second stage is where the mother who explained to the poetess about that particular image. And the third one is the poetess is having the photograph. Mother is no more, but she is trying to recollect all those happy moments where the mother had explained to her about the image. So this is a brief overview of the poem, A Photograph. You can expect small little 1 or 2 mark questions asking what is the tone of the poem or the poetess, what is the theme of the poem, why is it titled A Photograph, explain the structure of the poem, A Photograph. So moving forward, I told you all that the poem has few poetic devices. So let's understand what are the poetic devices of the poem, A Photograph. When I talk to you all about poetic devices, you need to know these are the figures of speech that the poet uses as essential tools. Why does the poet use such figures of speech? To make the poem more meaningful, to make the poem more appealing, understanding, to make the poem more emotional, to make the poem more meaningful. So, poetic devices are a form of literary device used in the poetry. They are the essential tools. It adds more meaning to the poem. It becomes very expressive and appealing, and it also gives depth and to emotion. It also gives depth to emotion, and it enhances the rhythm. So this is what you mean by a poetic device. So what are the poetic devices in this poem, A Photograph? You have few of them. They are alliteration, allusion, transferred epithet, and Oxymoron, personification, and there is also irony in the poem. So these are few of the poetic devices. So moving forward in my next slide, I will be explaining in detail these poetic devices. So let's have a look at the first one, that is alliteration. What do you mean by alliteration? Alliteration is a figure of speech which has the same consonant sound in the beginning words. Remember, alliteration has got the same consonant sound in the beginning words. For example, read this out. Black bug bit a big black bear. That is black, b, okay, big. So every word in the starting, the consonant, what are the consonant letters? Other than A, E, I, O, U, all the other English letters are called the consonants. So B being a consonant and it is in the beginning of the word, you see alliteration here. So the next one is allusion. So what is allusion? Something where an object or a thing is referred to something which is popular. For example, if I say, she has a Mona Lisa smile. Now, Mona Lisa herself is very famous, very popular for a beautiful smile. So, if I say the student has a Mona Lisa smile, I am referring the student's smile to Mona Lisa, which is very popular. So, allusion is something an external is referred to. And I have given you an example. Now, moving forward to the next one, epithet. Now, what is an epithet? Epithet is a phrase which is linked to describe a particular character or thing. What is an epithet? It is a phrase that is linked to describe a character or a thing. Look at the example here. Now when I say Alexander the Great, what is the characteristic of Alexander? He is the great. Okay, so this character or anybody, any other characters is referred to, oh, he is like Alexander the Great. So that is epithet. Or another example, Akbar the Conqueror or Sachin the Master Blaster. So that is epithet. However, you don't find the poetic device epithet used in this poem or photograph, but you have something called as transferred epithet. What do you have? You have something called as transferred epithet. So what is a transferred epithet? It is where an adjective is transferred from one noun to another. An adjective that is transferred from one noun to another. For example, if I say, I had a restless night. Now, restless is an adjective, isn't it? But the night is not restless. Who is restless here? The subject, I. So, the adjective of this subject is placed next to this noun here. Did you understand that? Transferred epithet is something that is transferred. The adjective is transferred from one noun to another. So these are few of the poetic devices. Alliteration, I told you, repetition of consonant sounds. And allusion is where you are referring something to something which is very popular. And epithet is a phrase that is linked to describe a character. And the last one, transferred epithet, wherein the adjectives are transferred from one noun to another. Have a look at the poetic devices. So moving further to the next one is personification. So what is the poetic device personification? It is giving human qualities to animals and objects. The human quality is given to animal and object. For example, when I am speaking, it is a quality of a human. Can an animal or can an object speak? No, isn't it? So when I refer the animal and the object with my speaking quality, that means it is personification. For example, the lightning dances across the sky. Now, dances. Is it ever possible for an object or an animal to dance? Is it the quality? No. It is a human quality, isn't it? So, is it possible to say that the lightning knows to dance, it knows to sing, it knows to scream? No. So, you are giving the human quality to an object. So, the lightning dances across the sky is called as personification. The next one is oxymoron. Now, oxymoron is when two words are put together side by side, but they give a different meaning. When two words with opposite meaning appears side by side. Example, living, death. How can you live and how can you die? Is not possible, isn't it? Or small crowd. Crowd itself is huge. So how can you say it's a small crowd? In the same way, pretty ugly. She is a pretty ugly girl. How do we say pretty and ugly? So opposite meaning words are placed next to each other. That is oxymoron. Next one is irony. I have told you all earlier also, what is irony? It is actually the opposite to somebody. When they say something, they mean the opposite to it. So irony is what is actually said is the opposite of what is intended. For example, the blind leading the blind. Is it possible for a blind to lead another blind one? No, isn't it? Suppose you have a friend who is very dumb, who's very lazy, okay, and you can't really believe him, but you're so attached to that friend that you go by his mentoring. So back home, your parents, especially your mother, will not like it. So she will murmur, she will tell you it's like the blind leading the blind. So have a look at it. When I say personification, you're giving human qualities for animals and objects. And when you say oxymoron, what is it? It is two words which have the opposite meaning but they are placed beside each other. And the last one is irony. What you want to say, what you are saying, that is actually what you intend to say. So that is a irony. So these are few more poetic devices that you see in the poem A Photograph. So that's about the poetic devices. Now that you know what are poetic devices, which are the poetic devices that appear in the poem A Photograph? Which are they? Alliteration, personification, transferred epithet, oxymoron, illusion, and there is also irony in the poem. So let's move forward to understand what is the poem all about. So as the title says, a photograph. What does it mean? It's very practical for both of us. When we look at a photograph, what do we understand? We look at the image and some memories will come. So that is exactly what does the title A Photograph is all about. Now, how does your poem look? The first paragraph looks this way. It speaks about the mother when she was 12 years old. What was she doing? Where was she? Who clicked the photograph? Followed by who are the ones in the photograph? How did they appear? What does that relate? Where did they go? So it's a little huge paragraph here which I have divided it into stanza 1 and stanza 2 to explain so that you will understand in a better way. But remember, both put together it is your first stanza, but in this class I have divided this into stanza 1 and stanza 2. And next you have the second stanza. I told you all 20-30 years later, after the photograph was clicked, the mother herself explains about that image to the poet. So that is there in your second stanza. Going forward, the last stanza, it is about the poet, it's about her emotion, it's about her sadness. Now why is she sad? She is sad because her mother is no more. Her mother has died. So right now she has the photograph in her hand which she had preserved. So while she is looking at it, she remembers how her mother with so much of laughter had explained about that image. So now here you see irony. That's because the poetess is in a very sad state, but she's trying to explain the laughter of her mother in the image. So this is your poem, A Photograph. Moving forward, I will explain line by line what are the words in context, what are the question and answers that you can expect, and what are the poetic devices. Dear children, I will be off screen for a while. I need your complete attention towards the board so that you understand and you learn the poem as well. Stanza 1. The cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went paddling, each one holding one of my mother's hands, and she the big girl, some 12 years or so. The cardboard refers to stiff paper on which a photograph was pasted. Paddling means walking in bare feet through shallow water. And big girl here means the oldest among the three, or she is a grown-up girl. The poet has an old photograph that is stuck on a cardboard. The image recollects the memory of her mother's childhood, the enjoyable moments of the mother at a sea beach with her two cousins who were younger to her. They were walking in the shallow water with bare feet near the beach. The mother was standing in the middle and holding hands of her cousins who were standing on each other. The mother was around 12 years of age and the oldest among the three girls. Children, this shows that the photo was very old. The poet's mother was how old? She was just 12 years. Now, the poet had kept the photograph so safely that when she looked at it, it reminded her of the sweet memories of her mother's childhood. The image here indicates how enjoyable her mother's childhood was. That being the first stanza, let us look at the poetic device in stanza 1. There's only one poetic device in the stanza, that is the cardboard, which is an illusion. Why is it called an illusion? Why is the poetic device an illusion? It's because it is referred, the cardboard is referred to a photograph. Now that you have understood stanza 1, moving forward to stanza 2, all three stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera. A sweet face, my mother's, that was before I was born, and the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. Still means there is no movement, means the three girls are standing without shaking. Smile through means they have smiling faces. Their faces are very happy. Terribly means unpleasant, too much or extremely. Transient means it's a temporary. It is something which doesn't last for a long time. It's a short period. So all three stood still means all three, that is mother and her two cousins, stood still and smiled at the camera. So who was holding the camera? It was the uncle who was holding the camera. Now the uncle clicked the picture at the sea beach. Where was the picture clicked? At the sea beach. The weather was windy and that's why their hair was all flying over their smiling faces. Why was the hair all flying? Because the weather was windy. Their facial expression was that of happiness and enjoyment. The image very clearly says that the expressions what the children gave, the moment was very enjoyable with happiness. So the photograph was taken very long back when the mother was looking very young and pretty. Moving forward, let's look at the poetic devices here. The first one being stood still to smile, and terribly transient. Both are alliteration. Why do I say it is alliteration? Because the beginning word, the consonant, is repeated. Stood still to smile. Yes, yes, yes. Did you see? It is repeated. And terribly transient. Terribly transient is T and T is repeated. So it is alliteration. And transient feet means it is a transferred epithet. Here, the transient feet, it refers to human feet, but it is used to describe the lack of performance of human life. Moving forward to stanza 3. Some 20-30 years later, she did laugh at the snapshot. See Betty and Dolly, she did say, and look how they dressed us for the beach. This sea holiday was a past. Mine is a laughter. Both ride with the labored ease of loss. Snapshot means it's a photograph, it's a picture. Dressed as means put on the clothes. They were dressed for a holiday. Ride means disgusted. So the poet here has a disgusted feeling because it is happiness for her mother, but for the poet it is sadness. Labored ease. Labored means what? Something which is done with hard work. So done with a great effort. So some 20-30 years later means the poet's mother is talking to the poet after a period of 20-30 years since the photo was clicked. So 30 years later, mother would look at the photograph and would have smiles on the memories that it carried. She remembered the happy memories of her past with her two cousins. Who were her two cousins here? It was Dolly and Betty. She commented on the dresses worn and also said how they were dressed for a sea holiday and how they posed for the picture too. Mother's past was a sea holiday and laughter. But for the poet now, since her mother is no more, it was a sense of loss, and that time would never come back to her. The laughter of her mother now has become a thing of past. The words here, labored and ease, are opposite to each other but describe the same entity, that is loss. So ease means comfort. Moving forward, let's look at what are the poetic devices. Labored ease of loss. It's a oxymoron. Labor meaning something which is in great difficulty, done in great difficulty. Ease means something which is very comfortable. So being difficult and being comfortable, both are of opposite meanings, but they are placed beside each other. So thus the poetic device oxymoron, labored ease of loss. Going forward to stanza 4. Now she's been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived, and of this circumstance there is nothing to say at all. Its silence silences. So in the last stanza, the poet is very emotional because she reminds of a mother who is no more, who is dead, and it has been many years that her mother had lived. And right now, the poet is living with the memories of her mother. Circumstance here means situation or time or a particular period. Silences means make someone not to speak, someone who is unable to speak. So the poet realizes that few years past, she has lost her mother now. She was in a grief and had no words to express her pain and loss. She absorbed the memories of her mother. The painful silence situation leaves the poet speechless. She is in so much of pain that she cannot speak at all. So the silence caused by death of a mother is so sad to the poet that one is not able to express in words. So the silence caused by the death of the mother, the poet is in a situation of sadness. She is so sad that she is not able to utter words. Moving forward to the poetic devices, it's silence, silences. It is alliteration. Why do I say it is an alliteration? Because the consonant letters in the words, the first letter, that is S in silence, in silences, is repeated. Also, you see personification. It's silence, silences means human quality of silence is shown here. I hope the poem was explained well in an understandable way and you have learned what is a poem or photograph all about. It's about a tribute to the mother. Who is the mother here? It is the poetess mother who is no more. Going forward, let me give you few references. The first one being a photograph on a cardboard. It is a photograph on a cardboard. This is a cardboard sheet, a stiff paper board wherein an old photograph of three girls is pasted. That is exactly what is there in the poetess hand. Now, this might not be a relevant picture. This is not an exact picture to show that the mother of the poetess is here. I have just given you as an example how does a photograph look on a paper board. So this is a photograph of a cardboard. Going forward, look at the next one, transient feet. Okay, what is transient feet? What is transient means? I told you something which does not last for a long time. It's very temporary. It's for a very short time. Okay, so here you see the footprints. As you walk beside the seashore, you leave your footprints, isn't it? But does that long for a long time? No. After a while, after a very short time, as the waves come, it will just take it along. So that is transient feet. So these were the two pictures as reference for you. Moving forward, let's understand what is the message that the poem will give us. What do we learn from this poem? So these are two references that I thought I'll show it to you that will help you recollect the poem. Moving forward, every poem, every lesson has got a message. So what is the message of the poem? A photograph? Let's have a look at it now. A photograph links us to the past. It is a kind of record which is very important. Though people are not there, people start living with our memories. So what is the message that you get to know? It is a tangible link to the past. Photograph is a connection to the past. It helps us to know who we are and it also recollects the memory. These are the few special moments which has been captured and which reminds us of unforgettable moments in our life or in our past. And it is a record not only for the present but for the future as well. So this being the message, let's understand what are the kind of questions that you can expect. So the most important part of today's session is the questions expected. You need to know what are the questions that you will be tested on. Let's move to the type 1 question. Look at here. This is an extract from a part of your poetry, isn't it? So from this extract, you will get 1 mark questions. That is called the extract questions. Now, if you have 3 questions, that means to say that you will have 3 marks. If it is 4 they ask, it is for 4 marks. So what are the questions from this extract? The first one, what does 3 refer to? See in the stanza 3, what does 3 refer to? 3 are the 3 little girls, the cousins. Moving forward, when was the photograph taken? When was the photograph taken? The photograph was taken when the poet Shirley Tulson's mother had gone on a holiday to a sea beach when she was a little girl of the age 12 years. You can skip the 12 years, or you can say that the photograph was taken when the poet's mother was on a holiday in a sea beach. The last one, who clicked the photograph? Who clicked the photograph? It states very clearly that the uncle. The photograph was clicked by the uncle. So this way you can expect extract based questions. Moving forward to your type 2, that is the short answer questions for 2 marks. That should be for a word limit of 30 to 40 or 50 words. Now, the cardboard picture. Explain about the picture on the cardboard. You can write, you can explain, isn't it? Then, why does the poet's mother laugh in the image? What is their terribly transient feat? What does terribly transient feat mean? Who were the 3 cousins in the poem A Photograph? Who were the 3 cousins? What were their names? You need to write that. So, where was it photographed? The particular photograph in a photograph poem, where was it photographed? Now explain, sea holiday was a past and mine is a laughter. What do you mean by the sea holiday is a past? That means it was a mother's past. And for the poet, it is her mother's laughter. So you explain that. Going forward, it's silence silences. What do you mean by its silence silences, and what is the theme of the poem A Photograph? So these are few of your type 2, that is your short answer questions. So dear children, I hope you have understood the poem A Photograph. Who is the author? What is the title? What is the theme? What is the summary? What are the questions that you can expect? What are the poetic devices? I hope you will rewatch this video, pause where need be, understand, make notes and learn the poem and get prepared from the examination point of view. It is important that you will not stop it here. I always tell you to open your textbook and read. Read the poem not once, not twice, but 3 times. You will definitely understand it better. That's it for today. To conclude, I hope the poem was clear to you. What is that you're going to do today? Go back to your mom and dad or to your grandparents. Look at few of the pictures that they have. Ask them to explain. Ask them questions on some old photograph. You will see laughter. You will see emotion. You will see sadness. You will see a lot of memories that you can collect from them. Do that and remember, cherish your memories always. Always don't forget to cherish your memories. See you in my next session, advertisement writing. Until then, all smiles to you. Bye-bye.